Hello everyone. In this video, we will be continuing our data table component to implement the search and the sorting functionality. So, what sort of functionality that we want to achieve is that by default, when the table is loaded, so one of the field will be sorted automatically, and when the user clicks on these particular fields, the field will be sorted, and when the field is clicked for the first time, it will be sorted in the ascending order, and the user again, if he clicks on the same field, then the order needs to be descending order. So let's see how we can implement that. But before getting deeper into that, I had made some few changes. As you might have noticed that this particular card, it looks wider this time. So for this, I have made this particular change within this line. The class is changed to 12 from 8, and there is another change as well. So within this data table.view, I have added this particular line, so this will fetch or show these particular values differently. So we want to have something as sort. So let's define two data or the two fields within this data object. So the first one is sort underscore field, and the second one is sort order. So the sort order for it should be ASC or ascending by default, and for the sort field, so let's simply take the first element of this prop. Okay, so let's make other changes. So we can see that within this fetch data function, we are doing it in the old-fashioned way. So I want to make it I want to make the use of the async and the await. So that can be done by simply adding the async over in front of this method name, and let's simply do like this. We want to await for this particular thing like axios.get this.url, and then when the data is got, we need to assign it to some value. So we want to handle the errors as well, so let's wrap this within the try catch block. So in case of the error, simply let's log the error for the moment, and let's alert that there is error. So this is something which is very easy. So let's get rid of this old code, because we do not want this, because we are implementing the newer way of achieving the things. So this is what basically doing is simply it's trying to call this same function, and then when the data is returned, we will simply assign the table data value to data.data. So it's basically same, but it's done differently. So you can see that we had added two fields like the sort field and the sort order. So we just want to pass this during our Axios call. So for that, let's add a new object like this, const params, and we do want sort underscore field, and this needs to be sort field. So within this data table, we are using making the use of the camel case for the naming purpose, and you can see that we are for the HTTP calls are within this browser, so we are doing it as the snake case. So this is the sort field, and we also want to pass the sort underscore order. This can be done by sort order, and we need to pass these params as the part of our Axios call. Now let's open our inspector, and then let's simply check the network tab, and what we can see that our particular data is provided, like the sort underscore field is equal to name and sort underscore order is equal to ASC. But I found there is particular error within our controller. So let's go to this. So this is not working. So let's remove this. So the sort field, let's make it something different. So the sort field, let's make the use of the inArray function. If this provided sort input exist within this sort fields array that we did in our first video, because we want to make sure that not all fields are sortable. We will make our API in a way that so some fields will only be allowed to be sorted, and for this we can make the use of our controller. So let's say the sort field, it needs to be it needs to be checked whether this exists within this sort fields provided array or not. So let's simply die and dump uh, and let's see what is the data that we are getting. So you can see that we provided name as our field, and then it exists in our sortable field. It means we can sort with this name. So let's say instead of name, if we had passed something else, so instead of sort field, so we had, let's simply make this as a string and let's pass this. So in this case you can see that this is returning false, so which basically means any nonsense data that should not be allowed to be sorted. So because this is allowed to be sorted and this exists in our sort fields array, so we'll make sure that the field is same sort field input, and in case if it does not exist, what do we want is let's make the use of the same old variable. It means our default sort field, so our default sort field will be created at. So this is what we can implement. And now let's reload this. So you can see that all the names beginning with A are being displayed, so which basically means that our basic sorting is implemented at the moment, right? Because we are getting the data in the particular order which is ascending for this name field. So now let's add the functionality so that the users can change this field and the order. So within my component or the article that I wrote couple of years back, I already have implemented this. So let's simply copy some code from there because we are making the use of font awesome over there. So let's simply copy this line, and within this particular place within this table head, so we need to have an indicator. We need to have an indicator which will show something like this. So as you can see, so within here the created at it seems that this particular data table is being sorted by this particular created at field, and it's being sorted in the ascending order. So we do want to have the same sort of arrow, right? So let's see that we simply copied this code, and now because we are doing something differently, so the name of our field is sort underscore field, and then the order is done by sort to order. So what this is basically doing is we are adding a simple span over here, and it's checking that if the provided sort field and the column which we are looping in, if both of them are same, so in that case we need to show this span. And also if the sort order is ascending, and in this case we need to show the arrow up, and else if it's not in the ascending order, then we need to show the arrow down. So let's see if this works. It does not work. So the reason is we have not added font awesome's CDN link. So let's see font, let's go into the font awesome and let's check for the CDN. Okay, let's just grab CDN link. Let's we need to get the CDN link. How can that be done? So it is asking for the pro, but we need to get basic stuff, right? Font awesome, getting started. Okay, it's getting error. I'm having some trouble. Okay, how can this be done? So okay, instead of this, I just don't want to install this. I just want to simply make the use of the CDN for font awesome. CDN JS libraries, font awesome, min.css. So let's font awesome. I think can I try this? So let's copy this, and we can see that within home.blade.php our basic layout is app.layouts.app. So within this app.blade.php, let's try to let's paste the content over here. So it should do some trick for us. Okay, as you can see, so this is working, and let's remove this code and let's try to reload it. It does not work. Okay, so what can you do is you can simply go to the CDN.js and you can search for the font awesome and just simply copy this CSS. So since this is not the tutorial for the CSS, let's not worry about the design aspect because we are focusing on the application and the Vue.js part. So it is working for now. So so you can see that our field is name, which is being sorted. Right now we need to make sure that when the user clicks on this particular table head, he will have the sorting functionality implemented. So let's add a click event. So when the user clicks on this particular click, so what do we want is simply we want to change the column. This we need to update this sort field, right? So let's see how can this be achieved. Let's simply say on when click. So let's add a method. So what had I done in my past article, so it will be easier. So sort by column, so we can simply say update sort column. This can be the name, and we can simply pass the name of the column. Okay, my battery power is getting drained. So within these methods, we can see that this is our first method, which is expanding up to this. We need to add another method, which is update sort column, right? So over here, so we are this method or this function, this accepts one field, which is string, and when this is clicked, what do we want to do is this dot sort field, this needs to be column. Okay, let's see. Let's reload this, and then as you can see the values are being changed. So when we click on this, the sort fields are being changed. But what you have noticed is that when the fields are being changed, the data is not being updated. So how can that be updated now? So when the sort field is changed, we can again call this function, this dot fetch data. Okay, and now let's reload this. So for the email, you can see that the another network call is being done, and then the data is being fetched. So what you can see is that, as I promised earlier, that but currently this address field is being sorted, and if this is being sorted and if I click on this, it needs to change its order from ascending to descending, but currently it is not doing so. So we need to make some change to our method so that it will change the order from ascending to descending or descending to ascending if currently the same field is clicked. So how this was done previously, we can simply see that if the provided column and the sorted columns are same, so we need not need to update the sorted column or the sorted field data, we just need to update the order. So how can that be done? So this can be done easily. So let's say if the provided column, if this is already being sorted, this dot sort field, if this is already our particular field that we want to sort, so we just need to update the sort order. So how can that be ordered? So if this current if the current sort order is ascending, so if the sort order is ascending, in that case we can change it to descending, else ascending. So this is simply this basic logic. And else if this currently clicked column is not the field which is being sorted currently, so in that case we can simply update our sort field and set this to the provided column, and then after all these things we can simply fetch the data. And also we need to make sure that by default the sort order needs to be ascending if this particular column is being sorted for the first time. So you can see currently we are sorting with name and it's being in the ascending order, and if I again click on this, you can see that this font awesome icon is pointing towards downwards, which basically means that we are sorting in the descending order. And if I again click on this, you can see that it will be sorted in the ascending order. And now let's make it descending and let's click for the address. So you can see that the sort field is updated to address and the sort order is changed to ascending. So you can see that this update sort column, this method is working fine. So now that we have implemented sorting functionality, I do want to implement two more small features within this video. The first one is sorting, where I will add a input field with a small button with a glass icon, and the next one will be to choose from the select options the page or the number of items that I want to show within this page. So let's do something. So I want to add two things like page options. Let's make it an array where I can choose from 5 to 15 or 20 or 50 datas, and based upon these by default user will be shown 5, but as soon as the user makes changes he can fetch the required data. And the next one is per page, because I want to fetch the per page data. So let's keep it to 5, and over here I have added this table hover class so that it looks comparatively better in my view. So let's format the code, and then I have copied HTML snippet from the Bootstrap's website and make some changes to it. So I will simply share this with you. So you can see that I have added a div with the class of the row and MB3, which basically means margin button 3, and then over here I have added input field where I have binded the value to search. So which reminds me that I need to add another data for this search which has already been added. So you can see that we have added a input field and which is binded to the data search, and then we do have this button over here and which has fa search for the glass icon, which basically means that upon clicking this button we will search something. So you can see for this button the event that we have added is called the handle search function. So let's implement this handle search functionality as well. So what you can see is that when doing handle search, what it basically does, it will simply fetch the data. Because we are using two-way data binding, the value for this search will be automatically updated, and calling this function to fetch the data will be easier. So you can see, so within this fetch data method we need to pass this field for the search, and then let's omit this for now. And for the per page, since we are implementing this per page functionality as well, we need to add something like per page over here so that this can be done. So the next thing what we can see is for this input field, for showing the per page, this is another div. So we have added the input group, basically Bootstrap's design, and we are looping through the page options that I added, which basically says I want to choose from the 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 data for now. So we are looping through all of those datas and then setting the values in this option for the select. So and when this handle when any change occurs for this particular field, we need to call this function handle per page. So this handle per page function, it basically is taking the event, and then we are updating the per page field simply to set the value to event.target.value, so which will basically take the data from the select field, and its value, the changed value, will be got, and after that we will call the fetch data method, which will eventually call our API to fetch the data. So let's see this in action. So simply reloading this page, you can see that previously we were loading 10 datas per page, and then but now you can see that we are having 5 data. First let's test this per page functionality. So you can see that we are having 10 data over here, and we could choose up to 50 data. Okay, that would have been the option. Okay, that's going great. And also let's do, or let's make a search. Let's see that this search functionality is working well. So let's pass a value called em, and then let's try to search. So you can see that it's searching something, and just to make sure that it's working well, we can go to our network tab, and over here we can see by typing em. So you can see that the search field is name, sort order is ASC, it means we are taking all the data in the ascending order, and per page we are loading 50 data, and search we are searching for em. So I want to fetch only 5 data, so you can see this data is updated. So now I want to get the data for the BUD bird. So I saw this, and I want to make sure that this search is working well. So you can see that bird ORN, this particular first data is got, and for the email you can see that the field which includes the value with email of this provided query, that also being implemented. So we implemented the API in our first video, and looking at this, we implemented these features in our front end as well. So this is working smoothly. So there are no complaints, so we can simply reset all the value and fetch the all data as well. So this comes to the conclusion of our this particular video, where we implemented the sorting functionality, and then we implemented the search functionality, and also changing the per page value. And now in the next video we'll be working on very interesting feature which will be completely dedicated to implementation of the pagination. So we will not work on this data table component now completely. So in the next video we will be breaking the component into a smaller part. So for now we will break the pagination component into another component, and we will implement that pagination component with this component, and also we will learn about emitting data from child to the parent. So that will be one of the interesting topic in the next video. So I would like to stop my video, and in the next video we'll implement the pagination. That will be one of the interesting thing. And also we want to add a loader over here when the data is being fetched. I think this is something that we are missing, because this does not look good, because currently you can see that the data are being loaded very fast because it's our local device. But if we were to work with very slow internet, so in that case we could have faced some issues. So let's say if the slow 3G was chosen, then we would be lost whether our request is being taken into consideration or not. So for that we can add a loader. So we'll work on all those things in the next video, and I think after implementation of the pagination our video will come to an end. But the interesting part is that, so we are using the options API. We want to completely migrate all of these components into composition API of Vue3. That will be the interesting part, which we will be covering in the next video after the pagination. So thanks a lot for your time. So I would like to request everyone to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share with your friends. So guys, see you in the next video. Thanks for your time.